Ever felt like you've become background noise in your own life? Not just background noise, but something static, something fixed. Think about that old armchair in the corner of the living room. It's been there for years. It takes up space. It has mass. It exists, but nobody truly sees it anymore. It's just there. You notice it only when you need to toss a coat on it. You notice it only when a leg breaks and it needs fixing. It is purely functional. It serves a purpose. It brings in the paycheck. It fixes the faucet. It drives the car. But if you were to remove it tomorrow, if you were to vanish into thin air, the tragic reality is that they would simply put another chair in your place. Maybe a newer one, maybe one with a different upholstery. And within weeks, perhaps even days, nobody would remember the difference. The ecosystem of the house would continue undisturbed. This is a chilling realization. It is a cold bucket of water to the face of the modern soul. And yet, this is the absolute reality for the vast majority of men in the Western world today. They have transformed from conquerors, from lovers, from partners, into household appliances, reliable, predictable, safe, and completely, utterly uninteresting. Look at the dynamic. He is sitting right next to her on the couch, physically. They are inches apart, but spiritually he might as well be on Mars. She is looking right through him, her eyes glazed over, mentally checking out, scrolling through her phone because a 15-second video of a stranger is more stimulating than the man who has dedicated his life to her comfort. She isn't angry, she isn't hateful, it's worse, she is indifferent. Today, I'm not here to give you relationship advice. Relationship advice is for people who still have a relationship to save. I am here to give you a defibrillator for your existence. I am giving you the verbal lockpicks, the access codes that hack this matrix and instantly flip the game board. But I must warn you, there is a catch, a heavy price. The phrases and concepts I am about to reveal are not safe. They are not polite. They are pure poison to the modern female ego. They are so potent, so disruptive to the established order of your household that 9 out of 10 men listening to this right now will not dare to up their mouth. They will nod, they will agree intellectually, but when the moment comes, they will freeze. They simply don't have the guts to shatter the peace. And that is precisely why they are doomed. That is why they will remain that dusty armchair for the rest of their days, until they are finally thrown out to the curb. But for the 1% of you who are ready to wake up, for the few who are tired of being invisible, let's turn on the lights. The drama plays out according to the same script, a tragedy written in invisible ink. Think back. A man starts a relationship as a predator. I don't mean a predator in a negative sense, but a man with agency. He has his own goals, he has his own social circle, he has his own territory, and he hunts for his destiny. When you first met her, you were a mystery, you were an individual. 6 months later. He is a lapdog who needs permission to see his friends on a Friday night. A year later, he is apologizing for picking the wrong movie on Netflix, taking responsibility for her boredom, 2 years in. He cannot make a single decision from what to eat for dinner to where to go on vacation without checking the manual, without looking at her face to gauge the weather. He no longer remembers his name before her. The formatting of his personality is complete. He has been overwritten, and the most tragic part of this metamorphosis, he genuinely believes this is what a mature relationship looks like. Society, movies, his mother. They all told him that happy life was the secret code to peace. He confuses a suffocating chokehold of control with caring. He thinks this constant walking on a minefield, this eternal vigilance waiting for her mood to shift, is called compromise. But let me tell you the truth that your therapist is too afraid to say. Every time she pushes a boundary and you retreat, every time she uses emotional blackmail and you surrender, every time she tests your strength and you break, you aren't keeping the peace. You are destroying her attraction to you. You are burying her respect for you with your own hands, one compliant nod at a time. Why? Because we need to look at the source code. Deeper than social norms, deeper than the trendy workshops on communication, there is a biological imperative hardwired into the female psyche. It is ancient. It is primal. It does not care about your modern sensibilities. She needs someone who can withstand her storm. Nature dictates that the feminine is chaos, emotion, and fluidity. The masculine must be order, stability, and unmoving rock. She creates the storm to see if the rock will move, and if you move, if you crumble, if you apologize for the rain, she feels unsafe. Every time you demonstrate that you are not him, that you can be broken by her mood swings, a piece of her attraction turns to dust. This crown I am talking about, the one she wears in your house, isn't just a figure of speech. You can literally see it growing on her head. It manifests in the tone she uses, a tone she would never dare use with her boss, or a police officer, or a stranger. It manifests in how her gaze slides over you, never landing, as if you are just the hired help, a useful mechanism that pays the bills, runs the errands, and provides comfort. And the heavier her crown becomes, the more you bend under its weight. You become hunchbacked, emotionally and spiritually, until you are nothing but a page boy at her feet. And at that moment, the final paradox occurs. She becomes sick of you, not the real you, but the weak, spineless creature you allowed her to make you. She looks at her creation with disgust. You must understand what is known in evolutionary psychology as the testing paradox. It is a brutal game, rigged so that you are doomed to lose if you play by her rules. Women instinctively test men. This is not malice. It is a quality control mechanism. In the ancestral environment, mating with a weak man meant death. It meant no protection for her offspring. So, the instinct remains, is he strong? Is he capable? Is he the rock I can lean on? But here is the diabolical irony of the modern relationship. The very act of these endless, constant tests is guaranteed to weaken and destroy most men over time. It is not a single blow that kills the man. It is slow erosion. It is water torture. Every innocent tantrum, every "if you loved me, you would do this" manipulation, every cold shoulder, every jealousy test. It is a drop of acid that washes away a piece of your spine. At first, you don't notice. You think, I'll just let her have this one. It's not worth the fight. Then it happens again and again. Months and years pass. Eventually, all that is left is a hollow-out shell, an empty suit that automatically nods and agrees to everything because he is too exhausted to fight. You have become safe, you have become convenient, and you have become completely, utterly sexless. And here is the finale of this tragic play. She hates you for it. She looks at what you've become with undisguised disgust. She hates that you became weak, even though it was her endless testing that made you that way. She despises you for failing the test, even though she rigged the failure so you couldn't possibly pass without risking the relationship. She hates the creature she created because it reminds her of her own mistake. She chose the wrong one. Oh, she chose a man she could break. You know what happens when you wear tight, uncomfortable shoes for too long. At first, it is agony. Every step is a sharp reminder of pain. But at some point, the nerves dull. You stop noticing the sharp pain, that it doesn't go away. It just becomes background noise, a constant, dull discomfort that you accept as normal. You just get used to life being pain. The same thing happens in these relationships. Men get so submerged in these manipulations, these emotional roller coasters, these daily dramas, that they start to consider it normal. They mistake their personal hell for a standard marriage. They think, well, everyone lives like this. They look at smiling couples on social media and console themselves. It's all for show. Behind closed doors, every guy goes through the same crap I do. That is a lie, an absolute, total lie. It is a deception you feed yourself to justify your own powerlessness. It is the narcotic you take to sleep at night. Because the truth is, some men have cracked this code, some men have found the off switch, some men live in homes where there is peace, where there is respect, where they are treated like kings, not servants. These men have found the words that stop this circus once and for all. 3 specific phrases that shatter her crown. Let's get to the techniques. The antibiotics for the infected relationship. The first, and perhaps the most surgically precise move, is the phrase, "you're predictable." These aren't just words. This is a precision strike that absolutely devastates the female ego in the 21st century. And you need to listen closely, because the delivery is more important than the vocabulary. The key is to say it not with anger, not in the heat of an argument. If you scream it, you lose. You must say it as a simple, almost bored observation, as if you are a scientist looking at a lab rat running the same maze for the 1000th time. You know, at first I really thought you were different, special, but now I see you behave exactly like all the others. The same games, the same manipulations, the same drama. You are completely predictable. Why does this have such a devastating effect? Why does this cut deeper than calling her a bitch or crazy? Because her entire identity, especially in the age of social media, is built on the belief that she is the exception. She is the main character, she is not like other girls, and she is that unique flower. Not just part of a collection, she is the muse who was supposed to change your life, not repeat the mistakes of your exes. When you call her crazy, she can wear that as a badge of honor. I'm just passionate. She thinks, he can't handle my fire. But when you call her predictable, when you calmly, emotionlessly inform her that she is just another actress playing the same tired role from the same script as billions of women before her, something fundamental in her self-perception breaks. Her entire world, built on her own exceptionalism, collapses. I witnessed a scene outside a restaurant once that illustrates this perfectly. A couple was arguing loudly on the sidewalk. She was hysterical, screaming, crying, making a scene, the full performance. She was shouting about how he didn't appreciate her uniqueness, how he couldn't see how complex she was, and her boyfriend. He didn't scream back. He didn't beg. He stood there, calm as a statue, lit a cigarette, looked at her and said, "Special. You are literally saying the exact same phrases my ex-girlfriend used, word for word. Do you all share a textbook?" "It's boring." She went silent, not just quiet, but silent. You know, that deafening silence when a computer has a system failure. Her brain just froze. She couldn't process the blow, because for the first time in her life, someone didn't play her game. Someone didn't accept her role as the drama queen. He simply held up a mirror and showed her she wasn't the star of her own movie. She was just an extra in someone else's. By using this phrase, you strip the power from her drama. Drama requires an audience. Drama requires you to believe that her emotions are a unique, catastrophic event. By labeling it predictable, you reduce her Category 5 hurricane to a mild drizzle that you've seen 1,000 times before. You're telling her, your chaos does not impress me. It bores me. And boredom is the one thing the female ego cannot survive. The second move, and this one is the nuclear deterrent. It is the foundation of all masculine power. Complete, absolute indifference to her leaving. I need to be very clear here. This is not playing indifferent. This is not acting. Women are intuitive masterminds. They can smell a fake performance from a mile away. If you are pretending to not care while your heart is racing, she will know. This is the demonstration of your true non-neediness. This is the cultivation of the mindset that says, I want you, but I do not need you. Here is the scenario. She threatens to leave. It's the classic power play. She packs a bag, or she says she needs to go stay at her mother's, or she says, I don't think this is working. The old you, the armchair, would panic. You would plead, baby, let's talk. Don't go. I'll change. The new you, the king. You calmly hold the door for her. She says she needs to think or take a break. You reply, looking her dead in the eye, with a relaxed posture. Of course, take your time. I actually just made some plans of my own, so the space will be good. She casually mentions her ex is texting her, trying to make you jealous. You shrug, barely looking up from your book. Great. He was a decent guy. Maybe you two can work things out this time. Do you understand what happens in her mind when you do this? Every threat she makes, all her emotional blackmail, is based on a single structural assumption that you are terrified of losing her. This certainty of your dependence is her primary lever of control. It is the gravity that holds her world together. She simply cannot imagine a scenario where her departure is not a universal tragedy for you. She believes she is the sun, and if she leaves, you will freeze to death. And in that very moment, when you show not just acceptance, but a calm, perhaps even relieved preference for her leaving, her entire reality shatters, her control evaporates. It's as if she was playing poker against you. She was certain she had a royal flush. She pushed all her chips in, expecting you to fold, and instead, you just stood up from the table, smiled, and showed her you weren't even playing cards. You were playing a different game entirely. A friend of mine, let's call him David, heard that classic manipulation line, I think we should live apart for a while. I need to find myself. Now translate that from female to English. What does it really mean? It means I want to go test the market, hook up with other guys, but keep you on the hook as a safety net. I want you to fight for me, to beg, to prove your devotion. David didn't beg. He didn't ask why. He calmly said, brilliant idea. To be honest, I was thinking the same thing. I've been needing my own space for months. Thanks for making it easy for me. And he started helping her pack, the look on her face. priceless. She literally started to stammer. She began backtracking, desperately trying to take the words back, explaining that she didn't mean it like that, and it was just a test to see if he even cared. She went from the dumper to the dumpy in 10 seconds. Why? Because the moment you are willing to walk away, you hold 100% of the power. Negotiators know this. Businessmen know this. But men in relationships forget it. If you cannot walk away when words, you are not a partner, you are a hostage. The third phrase, the one that completely shatters the throne. This is a strike at the very core of her feminine existence, a strike at her sexual ego. You must understand every woman, no matter how humble she pretends to be, believes her sexuality is her absolute superpower. It is her trump card, her golden ticket, her nuclear option. She believes it is the one thing that makes her irreplaceable, the one thing that gives her unlimited power over you. She was sure this was how she kept you on a short leash. She's convinced she can control any man, including you, just by dispensing or withholding this magic. And 9% of the time, she is unfortunately correct. Men have simplified themselves to the point where they worship average intimacy as if it were a divine gift, and then, in one moment, you casually, almost dismissively, let it be known that in bed she is nothing special, just fine, maybe even below average. The psychological effect of this is like a dirty bomb detonating in the center of her ego. You aren't just hitting her pride, you are questioning the very foundation of her market value. Again, the delivery is key. You don't say it rudely. You don't scream you're bad in bed during a fight that just sounds like you're trying to hurt her. No, you say it as a simple, yes, dispassionate observation, perhaps during a calm conversation about past relationships or intimacy. Honestly, the physical side of our relationship has always been just, okay, it's vanilla. I've had far more passionate and deep connections in the past, but that's fine. Not everyone could be exceptional in that area. I'm with you for other reasons. The key is the detachment. I'm with you for other reasons. You are demoting her sexuality from goddess level to commodity level. And then you just continue doing whatever you were doing. Check your email. Pour a coffee, as if you just commented on the weather. She won't respond right away. She'll go quiet. She is trying to process the information. Unlike other insults, which he could write off as your anger. He didn't mean it. He was just mad. This cold, dispassionate observation gets under her skin and stays there. It festers. Her brain frantically searches for where she made a mistake. How did her main trump card turn out to be a dud? You took what she thought was the ace of spades and showed the whole table it was a two of clubs. In that moment, for the first time in her life, she feels completely disarmed. She feels insecure, and paradoxically, this insecurity breeds attraction. She suddenly feels the need to prove herself to you, to win back that validation. The dynamic flips. She is no longer the prize that is being chased. You are the judge, and she is auditioning. Now, I hear the objections already. This sounds toxic. This sounds manipulative. This is cruel. But here is what most men fundamentally fail to understand. These techniques are not attacks. They are responses. This isn't poison. It is an antibiotic for a relationship that is rotting with the infection of manipulation. You don't take antibiotics when you're perfectly healthy, do you? You don't use these techniques when the relationship is full of respect, peace, and mutual admiration. You're forced to use them when she uses her own tactics against you. You use them when she employs threats, emotional blackmail, and psychological terror to control and break you. You're simply leveling the playing field. There is another tool in this kit, incredibly powerful, called the agreement method. It is essentially verbal judo. It blows women's minds because it completely breaks their script. She makes a statement designed to hurt you, provoke you, or force you to defend yourself. For example, she says, "Maybe I should just find someone who will appreciate me more." The weak man's response, which she expects, "No, baby, I appreciate you. Please don't go, I'll do better." The strong man's response, the agreement. "You know what, you're absolutely right. You deserve someone who will make you happy. And obviously, based on what you're saying, that's not me. I care about you too much to hold you back. I'll help you pack your bags." She throws another one. "You're not a real man. Agree." "You're right. A real man wouldn't sit here and tolerate this behavior. Thanks for pointing that out. I need to go reflect on that. And you walk away, this complete calm agreement is her worst nightmare. Why? Because her attacks are almost never statements of fact. They are tests disguised as declarations. She is desperately seeking your emotional reaction. She wants the fight. She wants the drama. She wants to see you dance. By agreeing, you don't just dodge the punch. You annihilate the very premise of the fight. You show that her opinion is not the high court of justice for you. You show that her validation is not the oxygen you breathe. This disorients her. You've taken away her script, and she doesn't know what role to play next. It's like someone swung a baseball bat at your head, expecting resistance, and you just turned into smoke. They lose their balance. They fall. And finally, the aftermath. The crushing blow. You must create an existential crisis in her soul. How? By demonstrating that you became happier after the conflict. She leaves, or threatens to leave, staging a drama. She expects you to shatter, to beg, to crawl on your knees. She expects your life to stop. But instead, you flourish. You don't chase, you don't call, you don't write those pathetic mile-long text paragraphs about how much you miss her. Instead, you live. And not just live, you live better. You suddenly start doing all the things with enthusiasm that she called stupid. You meet up with those friends she labelled a bad influence. You dive headfirst into hobbies she considered a waste of time. You hit the gym, you get promoted, you travel. She expected her departure to be your punishment, your personal hell. Instead, it became your vacation. She genuinely believed she was the sun in your solar system, around which everything revolved. It turned out she was just the cloud blocking the real light. This creates a panic in the female psyche that is hard to overstate. Her entire self-worth was built on being indispensable to your happiness. And you just proved, with the evidence, that she was in fact the main obstacle to it. After this, a pattern launches, predictable as the changing seasons. The woman leaves dramatically. 2, the man doesn't chase, he enjoys his freedom. 3, the woman suddenly has an urgent emergency that requires his specific help: a flat tire, a bill, a lost item. 4, the man doesn't answer, or replies coldly, hours later. 5, the woman accidentally shows up at his place or regular hangout spot. 6, the finale. The woman suddenly desperately wants to talk about her. Why? Because her world has been turned upside down. She desperately needs to get you back in the pen to confirm she still controls reality. You have to understand, gentlemen, they're playing a game they aren't even aware of. This isn't calculated evils, it's instinct. It is like a bird building a nest or a spider spinning a web. They create these complex emotional traps, not because they are villains, but because it is their nature. You don't get mad at a scorpion for stinging, do you? It's what they do. But here is the diabolical difference. Unlike the scorpion, the woman deep down wants you to avoid the sting. She desperately wants you to be smart enough and strong enough and aware enough to not fall into her trap. Every test she runs is a secret plea. Please be strong enough so I don't have to be the strong one for both of us. Every manipulation is a silent prayer. Please see through this so I can finally respect you. The words women are afraid of are, in fact, the words they are desperate to hear. Because a woman with an uncontrolled ego, with a throne that blocks out her sun, that woman is unbearably, existentially unhappy. She is bored. She doesn't feel alive. She has conquered everything. And now she has nothing to respect and nothing to strive for. When you knock over that throne, when you refuse to play her games, when you straighten your spine, you aren't just saving yourself, you are saving her too. Saving her from herself, from the monster that limitless power turned her into, from the misery of being with a man she despises. But most of you won't do it. You'll watch this video, you'll nod, you'll feel a spark of rebellion, and then you'll close this tab and go back to your yes dear. You will go back to walking on eggshells, and you will die a little bit every day because it's easier, because you fear conflict more than you fear losing yourself. This fear is a guarantee that you will lose both. First yourself, and then her. You invent 1,000 excuses. You say, I don't want to hurt her. Brother, she doesn't care about your feelings. She trampled them long ago. You say, I don't want to lose her. You already lost her the moment she stopped respecting you. You say, I don't want to be alone. You are alone right now, just with someone else in the room. And that is the most terrifying form of loneliness because it leaves no room for hope. I'll leave you with this thought. Every woman's greatest fear is not that you will leave her. It's that you will stay, but you will stop needing her. This fear is deeper than the fear of loneliness. It is the primal terror of her irrelevance, the fear that you will be there physically, but emotionally thousands of miles away, that you will look at her and feel nothing. Not just coldness, but absolute 0 Kelvin. No anger, no love, no hate, just nothing. Because it is in that moment she understands her power is truly gone. In that moment, the throne doesn't just fall, it evaporates. The red button is in front of you. Press it, and tomorrow you will wake up as a man who says what must be said, regardless of the reaction, or don't press it, and spend the rest of your life as an extra in her show, having completely forgotten that you were supposed to be the star of your own. Remember, she is not afraid you will leave. She is afraid you will stop being afraid to lose her. She is not afraid of your anger. Anger is an emotion she can use. She is afraid of your indifference. Indifference is the desert where her manipulation cannot take root. And she is not afraid of your words. She is afraid of your truth. The only thing worse than being a man who says the words women fear is being the man who was too afraid to say them. If you are tired of walking on eggshells and are finally ready to hear the truth, not a comfortable lie, if you no longer want to be convenient furniture and are ready to take back your throne, subscribe here. We don't play games, we end them. Click the button and wake up. The choice is yours. See you in the next video.